the 2026 AI Reality Check, the Productivity Paradox, and the Sovereign Squeeze. Welcome back, everyone. The global artificial intelligence landscape has definitively changed. We are no longer living in the era of speculative, generalized chatbots. We have entered a highly complex, highly regulated period. This new era is defined by agentic workflow integration, severe compute rationing, and strict regional governance. The global information technology spend has officially smashed past the $6 trillion mark. AI infrastructure is the absolute primary catalyst driving this massive expenditure. We are operating right at the intersection of remarkable scientific breakthroughs and incredibly harsh economic realities. Enterprise analysts have officially diagnosed our current situation. They call it the productivity paradox. Generative AI adoption is practically ubiquitous today. A staggering 84% of office workers in digitally mature economies like Australia are actively utilizing these tools every single day. Yet, actually translating this massive usage into measurable, scalable profit improvements remains persistently elusive. Organizations are slamming into a harsh reality. Deploying passive chatbots was easy. Transitioning to fully autonomous, multi-step agentic systems requires rewiring your entire operational DNA. It demands a complete overhaul of your enterprise data architecture. Let us analyze the recent technological shifts. The entire industry has executed a massive strategic pivot. We stopped chasing pure generalized language models. The focus is now ruthlessly dedicated to sophisticated reasoning systems and applied scientific models. The narrative that simply adding more parameters equals more intelligence is dead. It has been completely replaced by highly sophisticated post-training methodologies. We saw this shift clearly with OpenAI. After a highly publicized backlash to the initial GPT-5 rollout, they aggressively pivoted to a product-first strategy. They deployed the highly refined GPT-5.2 model directly into the Microsoft 365 Copilot ecosystem in December 2025. They explicitly prioritized enterprise stability and workflow integration over flashy emergent behaviors. Simultaneously, the OpenWeights ecosystem surged, shattering previous monopolies. Meta released the 109 billion parameter Llama 4 Scout model. This model heavily utilized scale reinforcement learning, effectively commoditizing baseline language reasoning. It forced proprietary providers to frantically justify their premium price tags. Models like DeepSeek v3 and Anthropic's Claude 4.5 Opus created a fiercely competitive market. However, proprietary APIs from Anthropic, OpenAI, and Google continue to absolutely dominate complex, multi-step coding agent loops. The tangible utility of artificial intelligence has decisively shifted into the physical and medical sciences. We have officially entered the clinical era for AI biotech. These models are systemically bypassing decades-old research bottlenecks. AstraZeneca recently finalized the integration of Modella's foundation models into their oncology clinical trials. They are using specialized AI agents to hyper-target patient matching. The Italian Institute of Technology leveraged the highly advanced CAT-RAPID algorithm to design a novel molecule designated APT1. This specific molecule successfully targets the RAP51 and BR2 proteins. These proteins are critical to cancer cell DNA repair mechanisms. By disrupting this interaction, the AI-designed molecule renders pancreatic cancer cells exponentially more vulnerable to chemotherapy. This is a massive, tangible leap in targeted oncology. In the physical sciences, a research team at the University of Hawaii published a breakthrough algorithm. This algorithm forces neural networks to adhere strictly to known physical laws. It utilizes a mathematical tool known as the Frobenius norm. This acts as a precise distance formula for processing massive data tables. It allows scientists to determine the true direction of a signal amidst extreme data noise. This physics-constrained approach is currently revolutionizing climate modeling and fluid dynamics. Now, we must examine the brutal, unforgiving economics of compute power. The mathematical reality of training deep reasoning models has completely inverted. Historically, we front-loaded our expenditure into the initial pre-training phase. Today, advanced post-training scaling methodologies demand up to 30 times the compute required to train the original base model. Furthermore, we must factor in test time scaling. This is the phase where the model actively reasons through a prompt before generating an output. Test time scaling can consume over 100 times the compute of a standard inference request. Because of this, inference operations now account for roughly 2/3 of all global AI compute. This requires massive, centralized clusters of energy-hungry GPUs outfitted with high-bandwidth memory. This reality creates a rigid global oligopoly. We have clear price makers and incredibly vulnerable price takers. Silicon designers like NVIDIA and advanced foundries like TSMC exercise unmitigated price-making authority. Leading-edge process wafers will cost 50% more in 2026. Individual cutting-edge GPUs command prices of $30,000 on the open market. Total data center infrastructure spend is estimated to reach an astonishing $400 billion this year. The hyperscale cloud providers operate as unavoidable, highly lucrative toll booths. At the absolute bottom of this value chain sits the enterprise consumer. Organizations purchasing tools like Microsoft 365 Copilot are the ultimate price takers. They must absorb the cascaded costs of $30,000 chips and massive cloud electricity bills. Once you integrate these agents into your workflows, switching costs become prohibitive. You are left entirely vulnerable to unilateral vendor price hikes. The core enterprise value proposition is now agentic AI. These systems autonomously plan and execute multi-step logical frameworks. Microsoft introduced Microsoft Agent 365 as the unified control plane for these workflows. Core applications like Word and Excel now feature an integrated agent mode. Outlook Copilot features deep, implicit grounding on your entire communication history. It allows for highly accurate calendar management defined entirely by natural language commands. Despite these architectural advancements, a glaring dichotomy exists. Users are experiencing severe operational frustration. Analysts call this the stuck sentiment. Agents frequently lose context during multi-step workflows. They produce highly confident hallucinations when navigating unstructured enterprise data. There is a vocal, growing resistance to forced AI integration. Workers use the derogatory term microslop to describe these ubiquitous, low-quality outputs. The root cause of this failure is catastrophic data architecture. Only 13% of middle-market businesses have aligned data governance and clean data lakes. Copilot is essentially feeding on massive repositories of outdated, siloed corporate noise. This widespread frustration has birthed a massive shadow AI crisis. In Australia, a staggering 48% of employees openly admit to using unauthorized external AI tools. They are actively breaching corporate cybersecurity policies just to do their jobs. For the Australian IT administrator, this situation is exponentially worse. Data residency is an absolute, non-negotiable legal requirement. Heavily regulated sectors must comply with the Information Security Manual and APRA standards. All enterprise data must remain physically stored within Australian sovereign borders. This creates a severe structural penalty. The latest frontier models and test-time compute features are rolled out in North American mega-regions first. When Australian enterprises force their data processing to remain local, they suffer significantly higher latency. They are often legally restricted to using older, less capable foundational models. To combat this, the sovereign AI infrastructure market is exploding. Providers like Cloudian and Reset Data are deploying massive, full-stack sovereign solutions directly onto Australian soil. These systems utilize highly secure on-premises storage integrated with NVIDIA RTX Pro 6000 hardware. This guarantees absolute compliance with the Australian Privacy Act. However, a massive regulatory cliff hits on December 10, 2026. The Privacy and Other Legislation Amendment Act fundamentally changes automated decision-making. If an AI assists in making a decision with a significant effect on an individual, you must explicitly and publicly disclose this architecture. This directly impacts high-stakes domains like HR recruitment, insurance, and healthcare. You can no longer operate a black box. Organizations must explicitly document the categories of personal data fed into these models. You are legally required to prove to the OAIC that human oversight is meaningful and rigorous. Lazy algorithmic rubber stamping is now illegal. AI agents must be implemented purely as orchestration layers, strictly constrained to providing decision-ready insights for human authorization. Looking toward the latter half of 2026, the industry will severely bifurcate. OpenAI is widely expected to launch GPT-6 between June and July. This model will demand a staggering 4 gigawatts of electrical power. Its defining breakthrough will be persistent, highly accurate long-term memory spanning weeks. We will also see the release of xAI Grok 5, boasting 6 trillion parameters. Paradoxically, locally, 2026 is the year of the small language model. Because cloud inference is too expensive, enterprises will aggressively deploy specialized SLMs directly onto edge hardware. We will also witness the absolute death of the traditional search engine. Agentic browsing is becoming the standard paradigm. Agents will actively browse, synthesize, and execute tasks across the live internet. For the enterprise, the financial squeeze is imminent. Effective July 1, 2026, Microsoft is implementing sweeping global commercial price hikes across the M365 suite. IT departments will face immense top-down pressure to definitively demonstrate ROI. You must prove that Copilot is actively reducing headcount or saving hard capital. This financial pressure will trigger a draconian crackdown on shadow AI. Administrators will forcefully deploy Agent 365 governance tools to lock down endpoints. They will actively intercept prompt streams to force workers back into compliant systems. The most valuable enterprise capability by August will be agentic security. Autonomous systems will function as a self-healing corporate immune system. They will establish complex behavioral baselines and instantly isolate zero-day threats. They will rewrite corrupted code in milliseconds, completely bypassing human latency. However, trusting AI to autonomously patch live servers creates massive psychological friction against the incoming human-in-the-loop laws. The era of loose, unmonitored AI experimentation is definitively over. You must fundamentally pivot your framework from AI autonomy to AI orchestration. IT departments must immediately halt external AI procurement. You must relentlessly focus on auditing and consolidating your internal data estates. Rigorously clean and structure your SharePoint repositories before absorbing the July price hikes. Address the shadow AI crisis through intelligent enablement, not just punitive enforcement. Build highly secure, internally grounded agents that actually meet your workforce's functional needs. Finally, you must adopt a heterogeneous hybrid compute strategy. Route highly complex tasks to premium cloud APIs only when legally permitted. Simultaneously, deploy highly efficient SLMs on sovereign on-premises infrastructure. The victors in 2026 will not be the companies buying the most software licenses. The victors will be the enterprises that successfully architect the most resilient, legally compliant, and architecturally clean data governance frameworks.